Okay, good morning everybody and welcome to today's webinar. This session will focus on providing direct comparisons between the Prospect 365 desktop app and the web interface. The session will last around 15 to 20 minutes. Don't worry too much about taking notes. You will be sent a copy of the recording and the slides afterwards. So just a little bit about me before we begin. My name's Jessica Heald and I'm the head of marketing at ProspectSoft. And whilst people are just sort of signing in to the webinar now, I just want to make it clear about who should sort of be on this webinar. So if you are only accessing the CRM through your browser, then you don't really need to be on this webinar. This webinar is only going to be useful for people who are accessing the CRM through the desktop app, which is downloaded onto your PC. So if you've got the CRM downloaded onto your PC, then this is relevant. If you're only accessing it through the browser, then you're good to go and you probably don't need to be in this session. So just want to run through a quick agenda. So why do we have the Prospect 365 desktop app is the first thing I want to cover. What was it for? Why did we build it in the first place? And then I want to run through some of the access differences, so the ways in which you log into the browser-based CRM and then the desktop app and the differences there. I'll then run through some of the comparisons in terms of the layout and how they differ there, as well as the speed comparisons between the two. And throughout, I'll be talking about some of the cloud benefits that are kind of gained from using the web-based product. And then I'll sort of round off with some other sort of notable comparisons that I want to draw your attention to. So first off is, why do we have the Prospect 365 desktop app? Many of you kind of be asking, what was it for? Why did we build it? And most of you who are using or partly using the desktop app are more than likely previous version 6 CRM customers. So you'll have likely been previously using our version 6 on-premise CRM. Again, it was just installed and it was on your computer, on your PC, and it was actually on your server. But if you don't remember that, it might have just been you've joined more recently into the business and you weren't aware that your kind of company was using the older on-premise system, but it's likely that you were on that system, that much older one, and then we migrated you over to the desktop app, the Prospect 365 desktop app. So that's probably how you kind of got there. A few years after that, we developed the app, the desktop app, which essentially had the highest level of backwards compatibility possible from a cloud product. So many of our customers had bespoke functionality and bespoke features in their version 6 CRM, the on-premise one. Even though they might have just thought it was just there in part of the product, it was actually probably bespoke, a lot of it. Things that we've gone and done for your company specifically and not for other companies. So the desktop app, the 365 desktop app, was actually a great stepping stone towards a cloud product that would actually retain much of those bespoke features. So it was good. It was a good kind of middle ground towards going to a fully cloud-based product, the desktop app. And actually, it wouldn't have been possible for us to migrate all of our customers over to a completely cloud-based product initially, as actually the majority of our customers had so many bespoke features or bolt-ons or kind of plugins, which were not part of the product as standard. So if you think about it, therefore, kind of moving all of these customers straight over to completely cloud-based product, which is like our web-based platform, it would have meant they would have actually lost out on all of those features, those bespoke features that they had. And actually the sheer amount of bespoke that we would have had to rebuild in the core product in the cloud would have actually taken us far too long. It would have taken us forever, really. But sort of not only that, the bespoke work we've done for customers in the past in their version 6 CRM wasn't or isn't necessarily going to be what our target audience going forward would have needed and wanted. So some of the bespoke features were very much one-off bits of functionality that were built for that specific customer and that specific customer only. So nobody else is going to really benefit from it. So when you're building a cloud product, you have to take a view as a development team and go, which things are our audience, our main sort of set of customers going to actually want. We don't want to clog it through full of features that just aren't going to be used and that are just for the one customer, when actually we're trying to cater for hundreds and hundreds of customers. So hopefully you can see the viewpoint there. And so building the 365 desktop app was essentially the start of the process of getting rid of lots of those bespoke and bolt-ons, and instead kind of start to take some of those best of the bespoke features and making them part of the core CRM offering as standard. So that was kind of where the desktop app comes in. But the web interface is significantly different, and I will be showing you some comparisons quickly, some overview comparisons in a moment. And obviously, kind of starting to get rid of some of those bespoke features or rebuilding them into the core offering made the product easier to support. Just a generally better, cleaner process from a development perspective, and obviously from a user experience perspective too. So, as I said, if you're on the 365 desktop app, you're probably a previous version 6 customer. So you would be using our on-premise CRM, which kind of had an orange background. If you think about the branding, it was much, much older looking. So the 365 desktop app was kind of the best stepping stone to get some of our customers migrated over to a cloud product without them losing all of those bespoke features. And since then, we've developed a completely cloud-based product, which I'll refer to as our web interface throughout this webinar. And the development team have been working really hard to improve the user experience and offer a more competitive product in the field of cloud software, basically. It's important to note that although we have made some features which were previously bespoke and bolt-ons part of the standard web interface product now, certain features still won't be immediately available in the web interface. So if you're using the 365 desktop app, you shouldn't assume that when you go into the web interface, it'll all necessarily be there, because customizations need to be reconfigured, reports need to be rebuilt. However, not all existing reports can actually be made directly in the CRM. Some require Power BI or other business intelligence tools. So while the most commonly used sort of standard features are much better and broader, not every feature of the desktop exists in the web interface. The technologies are just not the same. A desktop app that is downloaded to your computer on your PC is built completely differently to how it's built when it's accessed via your browser. So some of those features just won't immediately be available in the cloud product. It's just worth noting that there. We have, though, tried to make the most popular features obviously standard in the cloud-based product or the web interface, but it is just worth having a discussion with your account manager. We can look at what bespoke you have and we can compare that and just draw comparisons and check that everything's there available as you would expect before you actually move over completely to the web-based interface. So I just wanted to make it clear how you go about accessing each of the platforms, the sort of differences in terms of how you log in. So for the desktop app, you download it onto your PC. I've explained that earlier. But sort of conversely with the web interface, you access it via your browser. And I've noted here Chrome and Firefox, as we're kind of currently only supporting these two browsers. Most of our customers use Chrome, pretty much everyone these days is using Chrome, but Firefox as well, if you did use that. With the 365 desktop, you had to actually consider the spec of your machine, as only sort of supported versions of Windows would be compatible. And sometimes Windows updates could actually affect the performance of the desktop CRM as a result. So your machine has to basically be compatible with certain versions of Windows, whereas the web interface is just accessed via your browser. So they're just not issues anymore. There are a couple of small instances, though, where the sort of spec of your machine does affect a couple of features in the web interface. But if you are experiencing performance issues in the web interface, you're likely experiencing issues navigating many other websites as well, or finding that installed applications are slow to respond as well. So it likely won't just be the CRM in isolation that's got a problem. It's probably an issue impacting sort of several sites. Just worth noting there. So they're the kind of differences in terms of how you access each one. One is downloaded to your PC, and one you just go to your browser and type in crm.prospect365.com, and that's how you get to it. So they're the differences there. I'm now going to go through some of the layout comparisons so you can just see some of the differences between the desktop app and the web interface visually. So for the next few slides on the layout comparisons, I'm going to have a slide titled desktop app and then a slide titled web interface. So if anyone is referring back to the slides or the video, they can see which one's which, okay? But hopefully as you go through it, you'll actually be able to just identify which one's which, because you'll be able to see which one is just more modern and intuitive. So the first one I want to go over is the dashboard, or as most people probably would call it, the home page. Like when you log into CRM, what do I see? Just the dashboard. And in the desktop app, which is this screenshot, the dashboard is largely taken up with lots of call to actions here to visit other elements of the solution or sort of related websites. So the main bulk of the actual homepage or dashboard, whatever you call it, is actually taken up with these tiles here, which are just more like resources, not really kind of key stats or information. You have got the tabs across here, which are really the things that you're going to use, and at the top, which are the things you're going to actually be using. But actually the bulk of the dashboard immediately isn't being used probably as best as it could be. So on the next slide, we can see the dashboard in the web interface. It's just a much cleaner, easier to navigate sort of homepage. Just all in all, much more intuitive and kind of user-friendly. Straight away, you can see key information about how your business is performing financially. Just quick stats, if you just wanted to log on and see, what's our pipeline looking like, you can see it straight away. It's not right, I have to go into a tab and find it and do a report. It's just immediately available. And you can click on these tiles as well and open up the report that's driving that. So much more interactive as well in that sense. The recent activity on the right-hand side as well, really useful. You can just sort of effortlessly locate records that you were looking at recently or working on recently, rather than having to go and find it every time. Again, you've got your tasks showing everything that's coming up today, things that are overdue, or things that are kind of being worked on. Open leads, open problems. Again, you could click onto those tiles and it would actually show you those things, but just good to get an overview, what's actually going on financially, what's going on in a nutshell across the business. So a much more informative dashboard, should I say, in the web interface. In terms of the division record now, so we're now going to go back to the desktop app and just show you what it looks like on a division record. Here again, it's a case of you navigating across these tabs rather than being presented with the information immediately. Difficult kind of to get an overview of this particular customer without actually drilling down or clicking onto each tab. You even got these, if you can see, the sort of arrows here, which will show me more tabs. Imagine if the tab I use all the time is down that end of the scale. I'm going to have to keep, just things that aren't as intuitive as they could be. In terms of the division record in the web interface, though, I've just got a screenshot here. This is a demo system I've been screenshotting, by the way. So, you'll obviously find that yours is populated with more information. But a notable feature on the division record in the web interface is this at a glance on the right-hand side. So this basically shows you an overview of kind of what's happening with this customer, and kind of the key info here is sort of how many active problems has this customer got, how many active leads. Get a nice map, so if I wanted to go and find out where they're based, things just looking a little bit nicer. Also worth noting that instead of what we had, if I just go back, we had those tabs along the middle there. We've got what we call pages down the left-hand side. You can still call them tabs if you want, but we would refer to them as pages. So these pages, just much clearer to navigate. You can see them all straight away, and you can just click through, and then whatever you click will then in turn change the sort of center panel here in the middle. Just other little things like being able to expand and minimize the sort of the sidebar on the left hand side there, that blue bar, and just being able to expand out this record using that little icon at the top right there. Just small things that just make it easier to read, easier to digest in terms of digesting the information. So this will be new to some people. Some people won't have seen this, the 365 web interface before. So it's just good to just show some of the things there. In terms of the contact record, so back to the desktop app. Again, we have the tabs. Very little information about what things are going on with this customer. So what quotes has Michelle got? What leads have we got open? Has she got any problems open at the moment? We can't really see that without having to click on each tab. The notepad is actually a tab on its own. So it's actually grayed out for some reason, which looks like it's not even being used, but it's everything's just kind of segregated. In terms of the contact record on the web interface, we have the pages again on the left-hand side, not the tabs, and the activity feed down here, which is the notepad, the new notepad effectively. It shows us in real time kind of what's happening with the customer, and it will show us related things, so related records. As you can see, there's a problem linked up to Michelle here. So it's sort of associating things on the activity feed so that if someone comes to this record, they can immediately see, how many problems have we got, how many leads, how many quotes, things like that. So yeah, much more polished in that sense as well. In the desktop app, in terms of reporting, if you wanted to build a report, you could do it. There were some standard reports, but you can't really easily build them. You can't filter out the information as easily. So this report I've taken a screenshot of is I'm filtering it by company type, which is quite a common one that our customers do. They want to see a report of all their suppliers, for example, or all of their prospects or all of their customers. So this report that is built here is just not as easy to filter out. In the web interface, we have what we call the report builder, which means you can create your own reports based on pretty much most fields within the CRM, rather than you sort of having to pay somebody here to do it. The report builder is kind of intuitive enough to allow for that kind of precise filtering. So if you're maybe in the marketing team and you're building a list of contacts, you can do that, create your filters, whatever it might be. We actually have a webinar on the report builder, which goes into depth about how to use it. But really good that you now have that flexibility in terms of building your own reports, and it becomes so second nature when you do it all the time. And you also get, I don't know if you can see on the left there, you've got the My Reports, and then you've got shared reports. So shared reports, you could have all the company seeing all the reports, but the My Reports are just set to you. So you've kind of got that as well, that element as well. And then along here, you've got kind of marketing, sales, service, accounts. There, when you click on all of those, they give you standard service reports, standard sales reports, you know, new versus returning customers, all of those things are in there as well. So you can see some standard reports too. As I say, we do have a webinar on the report builder that we can share with you, or we have some documentation on our Academy site if you want to just learn a bit more about the report builder, but that is a big draw for a lot of our customers. So I just wanted to quickly run through some of the general customizations that can be made in the web-based platform. I know that these have been a real benefit to some of our customers who are now using the web interface only. So when you're in the web interface, you'll notice that you can actually alter the layout. So this bottom right-hand screenshot here, you can actually alter the layout of your interface in the web-based platform. So something you couldn't do in the desktop app. For example, if you wanted to move something down the page or something to the right-hand side, you can sort of drag it and move it around. You know, things that you use all the time could then be sort of right in the middle or the top right, wherever you prefer. Just that bit of ability to customize it to your liking without having to pay anything. You know, it's just, you just do it, you know, as you like. And that's using the three dots there and the customize button to get to this bottom right hand screenshot. You've also got, if you're an admin user, on the bottom left hand corner, you've got a little cog icon. And when you click on this, this kind of gives you the settings area. And within here, there's so many customizations you can make. Your email template, setting up your lead pipelines, just lots of configurable elements of the CRM here, lead statuses, whatever it might be. So you can configure loads of the drop downs in the CRM if you're an admin user only though. But really good that you can just do that, you know, without having to get in touch with us and ask us to do it or whatever it might be. You can just do it, you know, speak to people in your company, see what's working, what's not, and make those changes, you know, immediately rather than having to wait around. So I definitely just wanted to point out that in terms of the general customizations. Speed comparisons is the next one. So I just thought it'd be worth noting some of the speed differences between the desktop app and the web interface. So in the desktop app, I mean, actually, they're both reliant on the internet. They're kind of equally reliant on the internet, actually. So they both need an internet connection. Neither can run without an internet connection. So they're the same on that front. But in terms of speed, there's kind of a significant improvement in terms of speed in the web interface. Records that kind of would have taken several seconds to load in the desktop app now load in a matter of split seconds within the web interface. So all in all, if you think about how many records you and your team are accessing on a daily basis, the CRM is could be overall sort of 10 times the speed of the desktop app in some cases. So the web interface is significantly faster overall. It can also cope better in areas where the internet quality is a little bit poorer. Whereas the desktop app just doesn't cope as well. It is not a fully cloud-based product. So just a few sort of trade-offs there. Just wanted to point out. Other notable comparisons. So license cost is the first one. And the comparison here is actually, they're the same. The per user price for the desktop and the web is the same. There is no change there. The support though, so moving on to things that are kind of a bit different, unfortunately, SAP have end-of-lifed and removed support for a number of the technologies that the desktop app heavily relies on. So as a result, we have had no option to kind of but to reduce the support, and will eventually, we don't have an end-of-life date for the 365 desktop app, but eventually we will be announcing an event end of life date. It's not going to be anywhere imminent, so don't panic. But these technologies are not used in and do not impact the web interface. Hence why we're kind of keen to move users over to the desktop, from the desktop to the web interface when appropriate. It will obviously involve a bit of conversation with your account manager or our customer success team to make sure it's all done correctly. So there's no big panic or big rush, but the technologies that are driving the desktop app are kind of external technologies by SAP, and if they are end-of-lifing those technologies, then it becomes obviously more difficult for us to support it. So it's just worth bearing that in mind. Reporting. So in the web-based interface, users obviously have that flexibility to create those reports on the fly. A big draw for many of our customers is previously they would have obviously had to go and get a quote from us for us to do this work for them, whereas now they can actually create these as they wish on pretty much any entity within the CRM. The reports are also auto-refreshing, so if anyone meets the criteria that you set in the report, you don't actually need to rerun the report or recreate it. The report will just automatically refresh and update it for you in the background in the web interface. Particularly useful from an email marketing perspective, because you're kind of feeling reassured that that list is always up to date without you needing to do anything. So quite an important comparison there. So updates. So we're not now making any feature updates whatsoever in the desktop app. So no new features and functionality is going to be added to the desktop app, whereas we're absolutely packing the web interface full of kind of new stockware features on a kind of daily, weekly, monthly basis, and rolling those out much quicker. Because it's a completely cloud-based product, the web interface, we can roll out those updates much quicker as well, and release them so that you can actually use them, month by month. It's being rolled out, and actually the reality is we're not really doing any fixes for the desktop app unless it becomes absolutely necessary. Obviously we would do that, but we'd apply a security patch if required, but any new features aren't going to be added to the desktop app. But the best place to find out about all the kind of exciting stockware features that we've been releasing in the web interface is kind of by visiting this link at the bottom there. So here we're posting out monthly updates and links to any corresponding help articles and videos to show you how to use the new feature. That's only in the web interface. So you can see by going to that link there how just the sheer amount of things we're releasing all the time in the web interface. So just thought I'd point those things out there as well. Just popped on some next steps here. So if you'd like to discuss more about the Prospect desktop app or even the web interface in a bit more depth, do contact us. You can call us, email us, chat to us online, whatever's best. We're kind of here to take those emails and calls. We'll make sure you get connected to your account manager or our kind of customer success team to discuss your options. As I said, some functionality isn't immediately available in the web interface, so it's important that we have a proper discussion about it and kind of make a proper plan for you. Should you need any more help or guidance, we have plenty of free resources which you can access. Firstly, we've got our YouTube channel, which you can find just by searching Prospect Stockware CRM. We pack it full of sort of new videos to show off sort of new updates that's kind of going on in the platform. We've also got the Prospect Academy. Again, lots of easy to follow guides and videos on how to use specific features and functionality within the web interface only. So do make sure you visit that site and get your colleagues to take a look. It just shows you, we're always updating those documents, adding new documents. Anytime there's a new feature coming out, we're pretty much on it with creating a new document, a new video, showing you how to use it. Just because, that is a real big resource for us. So do go and have a look. Any general questions can obviously be directed to our customer services team. I've popped the number on there. We do also have our services portal, which you can access, where you can log a ticket. So if you don't want to call in and speak to somebody and wait, you can just go to the services portal and log your ticket, and then they get that put into their pool straight away to look at. We also have our LinkedIn group for webinars. Do connect with some of the team as well. If you've got an account manager you speak to, or connect with me, join you into that group and have a bit of a discussion there. So I hope you've enjoyed the webinar, and above all, kind of found it informative and useful. Make sure you check out our upcoming webinars at the link there. We've still got lots on for the rest of 2019. So thanks very much, and hope to see you on the next one.